doggy barking. And the barks. Check it, check it.
It's not fair to him. Wasn't he just chilling?
We're live.
So does it make a lot of sense to go get him?
So, General, you're barking. They just released new evidence in the Patrick Frazee discovery. 48 Hours scooped the deal with someone and got the body cam footage not only from within the house, but they actually got body cam footage from outside the house and at the barn and at the ranch and different stuff. So we are going to release this footage right now live on the interweb, and we're going to kind of go over this video. We'll watch the CBS video real quick, and then we'll break it down kind of as we go. I need some headphones though, that's for sure, because I can't where's my headphone? I don't even have any headphones. I'll just have to mute my mic. I'm going to mute my mic, and then I'm going to start this video, but I want to be able to hear what's going on. So we'll go through the video first. These are just some still frame photos that they released. They released these today, and all over is the perfect. I'm live. Audio is good. So what we're going to do now, though, is I'm going to throw up the video that they released. CBS talked with Krystal. You'll see Krystal out at the house. You'll see Krystal out at the ranch. And we'll go from there. I'm going to mute this bad boy right now, though, so we can chat through this. I'm just going to mute my microphone as we watch this video. So if you're just coming in, that's what's about to go down.
We're getting a look at newly released video evidence used to convict Patrick Frazee of killing his fiancée, Kelsey Barrett, in Colorado. It was just obtained by 48 Hours, and this video shows Frazee's secret girlfriend at the murder scene, showing investigators how she cleaned up the mess after the bloody crime. Frazee was convicted this week and will spend his life in prison. Nikki Batiste has been investigating the story from the very start.
When I first walked in, I saw blood all over the floor.
This is Krystal Lee wearing a Colorado Bureau of Investigation jacket and hat, showing investigators how she cleaned up a bloody crime scene. Lee was the prosecution's star witness in the case against Patrick Frazee.
There's blood on the wall here. There's blood on the wall here.
It was Thanksgiving Day 2018 when Kelsey was last seen in public. Hours later, she was dead. Prosecutors say Frazee beat her to death with a baseball bat in her own home while their baby girl was in the next room.
The spray was from here all the way. I had to clean up underneath here.
Lee, Frazee's secret girlfriend, says she had been at her home in Idaho when Frazee called telling her, "You got a mess to clean up." Lee says she drove 12 hours to do it.
I had been instructed to try to wash things.
Okay.
This ATM surveillance image shows the container Frazee used to transport Kelsey's body.
We brought the tote here.
Okay.
We unloaded the tote.
Okay.
Lee took investigators to Frazee's ranch and showed them where Frazee transported Kelsey's body and burned it.
This is where the aluminum top was, and this is where the burn occurred.
Lee says she tossed some of the bloody items she took from the home on the fire, including baby Kaylee's stuffed animals and a Bible.
Was whose Bible?
It was in Kelsey's house, so I would imagine it was hers.
I don't think we would have known what happened to Kelsey without Krystal Lee.
Prosecutor Jennifer Veman says Lee helped them put the pieces of the crime together. Frazee's plan backfired when Krystal decided to cooperate with police.
Do you think if Patrick hadn't involved Krystal, he would have gotten away with Kelsey's murder?
Yes, he very well could have gotten away with that. But he wanted Krystal Lee to pin it on.
Frazee was sentenced to life in prison, but Lee is facing a maximum of up to just 3 years for evidence tampering. It was, say prosecutors, a deal with the devil.
Nikki Batiste joins us at the table. You hear about that story, the more gruesome it is.
The bloody stuffed animals?
Exactly.
Yes,
and the Bible.
Yeah.
What people don't understand is, why did she agree to clean up this crime scene? Can you give us any insight into her thinking?
Krystal had a complicated relationship with Patrick. She says she loved him, but that he also threatened her and her family, and she feared him. In this 48 hours, we have even more never-before-seen videos of her, surveillance of Patrick, the last image of Kelsey ever that's not been seen that jurors saw. And I'll tell you, it's all really unbelievable to piece together.
Yeah, I know prosecutors said that they made a deal with the devil. She got a maximum of 3 years. A lot of people are saying that ain't right.
She actually faces up to 3 years. Her next court appearance is December 2nd, so we'll wait to see what her final
could get less,
sentence
is what you're
She
saying.
could get less.
She could get less.
Yes.
All right, Nikki, thank you very much. And you can see Nikki's full report, Justice for Kelsey Barrett, tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central, right here on CBS.
So there you go. That is the piece that just released, and we're going to go through some of these photos. We'll talk about some of these photos. We'll talk about where they're at in conjunction to Kelsey's house, what's being said. We'll talk about all these little photos in this slideshow one at a time. I'm going to bring those guys in one at a time, and we'll go through them. We'll start with Krystal in the house. I need to kill my YouTube video so you don't hear the echo coming out of the computer there into the microphone. Sorry about that, guys. So what we've got here is a picture of Krystal inside Kelsey's house, and that is CBI officer Greg Slater with Krystal. They took Krystal into the house somewhere on the 20th, 21st, right? It would have been right around the time they arrested Patrick. And she went into the house, and she basically goes through and describes what happens. We have a short clip we'll show right now of Krystal in the house and her giving her side of the story, her showing her side of the story. So let's kill my.
Okay, so with this broom, can you point to the area where you saw and clean blood up on the wall? And just hold it there so we get a picture of that. Okay, anywhere else?
It was, the spray was, from here all the way. I had to clean up underneath here, then it was all down here, and, I know that I didn't get, I don't know that I got some of this underneath here because I didn't move the chairs to get it.
Just what you just saw there is an image or a video of Krystal Lee explaining to officers where the blood is that she left. So she goes in and she explains and she points out in different areas around the house where this blood is. And so you gotta understand that she's going around and she's literally pointing out in different areas where she said she left blood. Now, they've obviously come in already and collected this, and so they have pictures of where this stuff was. There's we'll show a picture of her real quick down on the fireplace. You can see a picture of her where she gets down on the fireplace and she kind of points to where the blood is. This is Krystal showing this stuff to CBI officers. This is how they convicted Patrick. People need to understand that without her kind of going through this, they knew something went down. They knew something had gone down in there, but they just didn't know where and what exactly. And so when Krystal comes and gives them the basically the tour of what she did and how she went through here, and points out right now, she's pointing out in this picture where the blood was when she cleaned it up, how she left it. And if people want to understand where this is in conjunction to the house, this window right here is the window that faces south out of the back of Kelsey's house. So I want people to understand that if Patrick were to go in and he were to open the window for her, she could have gone in this window that's in this picture. Krystal could have gone in this window, and this is why they don't have pictures of her entering the house. If this window was open, she could have just crawled through that window and nobody would have seen her. I mean, they may have seen her crawl through the window, but she could have crawled through that window so she didn't get captured on video. I'll show you another picture. Let me pull up another picture here of the outside of the house. This is with Kaylee, Kelsey, and Patrick going into the house. And so they could have this is why they wanted to know why Krystal wasn't seen going into the house. This is the picture of her carrying the flowers, the Patrick with her. This is the same stuff he's wearing. This is November 22nd. This is 1 year ago. Literally in just a few hours, this will be 1 year ago. This is at about 1:40 something when this picture was taken. And so this is the camera. This is the one of the images they use. They have another. There's another image they use, and we'll pull that other image up that they use in court. Just a few minutes later of just Patrick entering the house. Now the picture, there's one picture that has not been released yet, and the picture is basically the same exact angle, except Patrick's not holding a baby. Patrick's holding something else. And it's coming through his hand. You can see it right here on the lower left where he's standing. They haven't released that picture. I haven't seen it, but it's the picture that the jury wanted a second look at. So it's the same angle as this. This is the video footage. This is the pictures of Patrick 11 times caught going in and out of the house. And I want you to understand that they haven't released all these images yet, but they're coming. They're coming. This information's coming out. And so right now I'm just going to let a kind of a slideshow kind of go through, and we'll talk about each picture. This obviously is at the Conoco station, Patrick with the gas can. This picture here is of the hound, and that's the mark that they've been talking about on the hay. That's the actual hay that they looked at and went over. And so when people hear about the hay mark and the mold on the hay, they need to understand that that's where that picture. Again, this is out in front of Kelsey's door. It's the neighbor's video footage. This is the video footage that they used to show Patrick going in and out of the house. They didn't have footage. They had these pictures. And so this is Patrick at the end, and then you see the black tote in the back of his truck. So you've got the black tote in the back of his truck. This picture is actually of where Krystal burned the cell phones and stuff. And so there's a lot of different pictures that'll be scrolling through. But I want to talk about, I'm going to pull up the image of, let's pull up the image. We'll talk about the floorboards being ripped up. You see the amount of floorboard. You can see kind of the blood on the edge of that floorboard. That's the blood evidence that they use. Part of that was the prior neighbor who lived there, and then part of it was Kelsey's, and they identify some of Kelsey's blood in that footage. And so I want to pull up another picture here. We're gonna go into, let's pull up. I think I want to talk about the hay for a second. Pull up the picture of the bloodhound on the hay, because they talk a lot about this bloodhound. Where is that picture? Oh, is that it right there? Boom. So this is a picture of Radar. People have been wanting to see a picture of Radar. This is the actual dog. This is the actual hay bale in which Patrick stored Kelsey's body on. And a lot is talked about this little mark that's on this hay. This is where you see the tape measure there. This is Radar, going off on the hay. And this is, again, images that they used in court. These images were used in court as evidence to tell the story of where the hay bale went, or where the black tote went, because they had to show that black tote as the body. And so when they're describing these, every one of these images that is shown, it has a story of the black tote. And when they pulled the black tote out, the one that is in Patrick's, it was in Patrick's back of his truck. We'll pull up that image real quick of the back of Patrick's truck at the Int station. They show the image here of the black tote there. You see the black tote? So they say that black tote is what made that mark on the hay bale, and that Radar sits down and hits that, gives his analysis or his whatever he is, trained to do when discovering, evidence of a body. And they say that mark is roughly the same size as the black tote. And so I absolutely believe Krystal would have stayed silent had she not been caught, had they not gone to her. She was already chilling at the rodeos, so it's one of those things where, yeah, she definitely should have, be caught. So we're just reviewing the images and the stuff that has just been released. We just watched this video here.
So with this broom,
Krystal Lee telling Greg Slater, she's in Kelsey's house right now, and she's pointing out where she left blood and the different places. She talks about how there was blood up here, and then she gets down on the ground, and there used to be a chair there, and there was a baby gate that covered the stairs, and all of that stuff. She's telling them in this video where the blood was, and it was right here. There was a table that was pushed up against the wall that had covered the blood that she supposedly left. And so these are the videos that they showed in court to the jury, and they watched this as she tells that story. 48 Hours got discovery from somewhere, and all the other organizations are a little jealous because they can't necessarily do what we're doing here, which is release this stuff for the public to see, not just via a major media network. We're trying to get this out there. We want people to know what Krystal Lee did in this, and how she played a role, but not just her testimony, because that's good, but she needs to be held accountable for what she did and the things that she did. So I'm glad that the defense and the DA has released some of this stuff, but I wish they would make it all available so that we didn't have to cut and paste a bunch of other stuff. If you're just joining, I'm going to do one other thing. I'm going to play the CBS video again. I think it's a well enough done video that you'll be able to see some footage and hear some testimony from her. We'll make it full screen here, so just bear with me for 1 second as I'm going to make.
We're getting a look at newly released video evidence used to convict Patrick Frazee of killing his fiancée, Kelsey Barrett, in Colorado. It was just obtained by 48 Hours, and this video shows Frazee's secret girlfriend at the murder scene, showing investigators how she cleaned up the mess after the bloody crime. Frazee was convicted this week and will spend his life in prison. Nikki Batiste has been investigating the story from the very start.
When I first walked in, I saw blood all over the floor.
This is Krystal Lee wearing a Colorado Bureau of Investigation jacket and hat, showing investigators how she cleaned up a bloody crime scene. Lee was the prosecution's star witness in the case against Patrick Frazee.
There's blood on the wall here. There's blood on the wall here.
It was Thanksgiving Day 2018 when Kelsey was last seen in public. Hours later, she was dead. Prosecutors say Frazee beat her to death with a baseball bat in her own home while their baby girl was in the next room.
The spray was from here all the way. I had to clean up underneath here.
Lee, Frazee's secret girlfriend, says she had been at her home in Idaho when Frazee called telling her, "You got a mess to clean up." Lee says she drove 12 hours to do it.
I had been instructed to try to wash things.
Okay.
This ATM surveillance image shows the container Frazee used to transport Kelsey's body.
We brought the tote here.
Okay.
We unloaded the tote.
Okay.
Lee took investigators to Frazee's ranch and showed them where Frazee transported Kelsey's body and burned it.
This is where the aluminum top was, and this is where the burn occurred.
Lee says she tossed some of the bloody items she took from the home on the fire, including baby Kaylee's stuffed animals and a Bible.
Was whose Bible?
It was in Kelsey's house, so I would imagine it was hers.
I don't think we would have known what happened to Kelsey without Krystal Lee.
Prosecutor Jennifer Veman says Lee helped them put the pieces of the crime together. Frazee's plan backfired when Krystal decided to cooperate with police.
Do you think if Patrick hadn't involved Krystal, he would have gotten away with Kelsey's murder?
Yes, he very well could have gotten away with it. But he wanted Krystal Lee to pin it on.
Frazee was sentenced to life in prison, but Lee is facing a maximum of up to just 3 years for evidence tampering. It was, say prosecutors, a deal with the devil.
Nikki Batiste joins us at the table. You hear about that story, the more gruesome it is.
The bloody stuffed animals?
Exactly.
Yes,
and the Bible.
Yeah.
What people don't understand is, why did she agree to clean up this crime scene? Can you give us any insight into her thinking?
Krystal had a complicated relationship with Patrick. She says she loved him, but that he also threatened her and her family, and she feared him. In this 48 hours, we have even more never-before-seen videos of her, surveillance of Patrick, the last image of Kelsey ever that's not been seen that jurors saw. And I'll tell you, it's all really unbelievable to piece together.
Yeah, I know prosecutors said that they made a deal with the devil. She got a maximum of 3 years. A lot of people are saying that ain't right.
She actually faces up to 3 years. Her next court appearance is December 2nd, so we'll wait to see what her final
could get less,
sentence
is what you're
She
saying.
could get
She
less.
could get less.
Yes.
All right, Nikki, thank you very much. And you can see Nikki's full report, Justice for Kelsey Barrett, tomorrow night at 10, 9 Central, right here on CBS.
48 Hours piece that was just released and they have footage of her at the house, the stuff that they showed at the from her at the ranch. So a lot of people have asked a couple of questions. Why is she wearing the CBI jacket? Well, she's wearing that CBI jacket just so when she's going in and out, Dad with the phone doesn't know who she is at the time, and so it's a disguise so that she could go in and out of that house with CBI officers and not be recognized. And so you got to understand that what they're doing now, like they're releasing, this is all discovery that's just been, these are the pictures, the images, the video that they showed in court to help convict Patrick. And so 48 Hours did a great job of scooping this, and Dad with a Phone did a great job of ripping their crap off. And I've been trying to get a file of this and talking with other guys in the news organization and stuff, trying to figure out where they're getting this. But they released it to 48 Hours. They're allowing them to air this stuff, and we're finding out more. So all of this has just been released on the literal 1 year anniversary. So it's 12 o'clock right now, and you know, Patrick, like even in this picture here, where he's at the int station, you know, they, I'm gonna pull this picture up. This was, you know, very much one of the key pieces of evidence they used and show. This is where Patrick went and he tried to find out what this was going to be part of his alibi. That black tote that you see in this picture, that is representation of Kelsey Barrett. That is the body. And so yeah, CBS I think they're gonna air a special report tomorrow. We'll all be watching and checking out, you know, what they've gotten, because they obviously got the dang scoop quick, man. You got to give them that. And so I'm happy that they're releasing this info. I wish we could get more information on where and how. I wish they would show that entire video of Krystal in the actual house, because there's some things in there that are pretty telling as she goes through. So what do we got? KK was, I can show that one just a little bit. So right now it's 12 o'clock, thinking about the anniversary, more than 3 years. I think it doesn't necessarily matter if they have the exact truth from her. They needed enough to convict Patrick, and they definitely got enough to convict him. One of the images we're going to pull up here is of about the most blood they had in the apartment. They didn't have a ton of blood evidence, and one of the more telling photos that they use and pieces of evidence is this blood evidence, where you see this SS pointed right here, that little seep of blood that literally is on these floorboards. This is what went in between, and they pulled these floorboards up. We see images of how much floorboard they pulled up, but this was just a quick sample. But this was one of the more let's say more drastic pieces of this floorboard that they pulled up to show. And so they went through here and show where it happened, folks. This is where the majority of the crime happened. You see Krystal point up on the walls right outside this fireplace. Again, this picture is pointing standing, so you can have an idea of where this is in the condo. The window's up to the right of the fireplace, and the window is on the south side of her condo. So the back half that you see when we drive behind her condo, and this picture here of Krystal down on her knees, showing investigators where she left where she left blood. She's pointing out on the fireplace. This window, I think this window is two things. One, Patrick could have slid the tote through this window without being seen on camera. KK could have entered the house on this window without being seen by video. And so it is some of these pictures are not just pictures you're seeing for the first time of her telling the story, but these are pictures of understanding the layout of the house and how could one person enter the house and be seen on camera but someone else. If this window was open, she could have slid through this window without being seen on camera. And so yeah, the tote is an actual box. The box we'll show you a picture of again. This picture they use to show a couple of things, because one, you see the picture of the tote in Patrick's car, and that gives you an idea of how big this tote is. So check out the tote in the back of Patrick's car there. You can see it. Now, after you've seen the picture of how big the tote is, this is why he didn't just stroll in the front door without being seen. But there is an image that they don't show from the front door that it could that the expert testifies that it could possibly be the tote. Now, after you've seen the tote, now you'll understand the mark on the hay here. That's what they're talking about, the dimensions that roughly measure the same as the tote. And so when you heard or you saw reports of them testifying about the tote in relation to the mark on the hay, this is the actual picture of Radar, the dog there, that's Radar, on the hay. And they use this to show the difference between that. And so, like a very large dog kennel. As a matter of fact, there is a picture of a dog kennel in Patrick's truck, which is interesting too, because the tote isn't there because they're headed out to get it. So this picture here is at the Conoco station in Florissant, Colorado. And you see that there is a dog kennel in Patrick's car. This was in there as well during the whole thing. So this is him about to head up, and you can already see how snow has fallen the ground. And so they have, this is the Conoco station. The gasoline tank that Krystal testifies he fills up and that they use to as an accelerant. And so you can see that. There's also, this is a still frame from video footage. Video footage actually shows Krystal here as well with Patrick. So I'm trying to explain to you a little bit of where these images are. I could probably pull up. Let me see here. Do I got the Google Earth? Let me see if I got the Google Earth. I don't know if I got the Google Earth on this computer. I don't think I do. I guess I could pull up the Google Maps real quick and show y'all. But either way, we have taken you to this Conoco station. I have a actual picture of me with people at this Conoco station as we were talking about this case. But this Conoco station is right in Florissant, Colorado. As a matter of fact, you don't realize this, but just across the street, let's say you're looking at the gas station to the left, or the gas pump, look at pump number 3, and then where it says Conoco, if you look straight up and you see in the backdrop those mountains, that's actually really close to Patrick Frazee's mom's house. So you can understand how close this Conoco station is to Patrick Frazee's house and where he's at. Let's pull up one other shot that we haven't shown in a second. I want to show properties, browse. Let's pull up. This picture right here is an actual picture of I want to make sure that I'm reporting this as accurately as possible, so I want to double check something here. I believe this picture here is actually a picture of the fire pit or the fire spot where I'm gonna grab. I just want to I want to check one thing real quick, folks. So before I am quoted in saying this and misquote the proper evidence or represent this evidence as something that it's not, I want to pull up a quick post and read to you the details. So you're gonna have to bear with me for 1 second. Here we go. Perfect. So Krystal Lee shows investigators the charred area on the ground where she says Kelsey Barrett's body was burned. The burned evidence included Kaylee's baby toys and Barrett's bloody Bible. So what you're seeing here is where it was covered up. So this was where they had the actual metal trough, and then they brought in other dirt. So this is where they say that they burned her body. This is how they show it, and you see this up at the top. Remember when they were talking about human oil or motor oil? Those dark stains up at the top, these are kind of the actual pictures they use. They use some close-ups and some different things, but versions of this picture they use to the expert talks about what happens to a body when they burn it, and this is where the jury asked the expert, could that be motor oil or is that human oil? And so these are, when you saw and read those tweets, you have to understand that this is what they were talking about in those tweets. And so this is the picture of the burn area in which the experts, they do obviously a bigger, they definitely blow it up and get a lot bigger picture of it. But when they show this photo, this top area here where it looks a little different in coloration, they talk about how that could be human oil and or motor oil, and the expert witness doesn't give a he says he's not privy to know exactly, if that is motor oil or if that is human oil. It's part of that testimony that was shared that is just really not something people should talk about or even need to be privy to in that. But nonetheless, so this is the actual picture of where they say the burn took place. I'm trying to fix this here. I want to give y'all some more photos. Oh, my computer. Let me pull up another image here and we'll talk about something. This is an image from the video, and we showed that video just a second ago, and I'll throw that video back on here with no audio. Let me see here.
We're getting a look at newly released video evidence.
We want this one. So that's an image that was pulled from this video where Greg Slater gives her a thing and says, well, kind of tell me how high the blood was up on the wall. Tell me, you know, where it went. And you know, KK's kind of just standing there and she's pointing that it was basically all over this area. And this is where they use her testimony mixed with the testimony of the expert talking about how, and if I don't know if you caught that or not, but in this video, that's Veman. This is investigator, the DA's office investigator right there, or the DA is in that picture for just a quick second. And so Krystal takes them into the house and gives them a tour, if you will, of what was the crime scene. They use that information and the information that they find with the actual footage, and or the blood spatter, this, that, and the other. Using all of this, and this is the kind of the stuff that they use during the testimony with Krystal to convict this guy right here, Patrick Frazee. So they paint a very vivid picture. They wanted to paint a picture for the jury, and they used these body cam footages, not with actual blood. There's no blood because she cleaned up. And so the next best thing was to take her in there and have her tell the story of where she cleaned up, how she cleaned up, what she was a part of. And man, it's going to continue to come out. They're going to continue to drop more stuff. Hey, what's up, Jay? Glad you could join us. 48 Hours dropped the first bit of discovery today. Crime scene photos, video from there. If you're just joining, we've got a lot of new guys joining, a lot of new people joining. I'll take a quick break. I'm going to grab a drink of water. And what you can do right now, though, is you can watch the video that just released via 48 Hours.
We're getting a look at newly released video evidence used to convict Patrick Frazee of killing his fiancée, Kelsey Barrett, in Colorado. It was just obtained by 48 Hours, and this video shows Frazee's secret girlfriend at the murder scene, showing investigators how she cleaned up the mess after the bloody crime. Frazee was convicted this week and will spend his life in prison. Nikki Batiste has been investigating the story from the very start.
When I first walked in, I saw blood all over the floor.
This is Krystal Lee wearing a Colorado Bureau of Investigation jacket and hat, showing investigators how she cleaned up a bloody crime scene. Lee was the prosecution's star witness in the case against Patrick Frazee.
There's blood on the wall here. There's blood on the wall here.
It was Thanksgiving Day 2018 when Kelsey was last seen in public. Hours later, she was dead. Prosecutors say Frazee beat her to death with a baseball bat in her own home while their baby girl was in the next room.
The spray was from here all the way. I had to clean up underneath here.
Lee, Frazee's secret girlfriend, says she had been at her home in Idaho when Frazee called telling her, "You got a mess to clean up." Lee says she drove 12 hours to do it.
I had been instructed to try to wash things.
Okay.
This ATM surveillance image shows the container Frazee used to transport Kelsey's body.
We brought the tote here.
Okay.
We unloaded the tote.
Okay.
Lee took investigators to Frazee's ranch and showed them where Frazee transported Kelsey's body and burned it.
This is where the aluminum top was, and this is where the burn occurred.
Okay.
Lee says she tossed some of the bloody items she took from the home on the fire, including baby Kaylee's stuffed animals and a Bible.
Was whose Bible?
It was in Kelsey's house, so I would imagine it was hers.
I don't think we would have known what happened to Kelsey without Krystal Lee.
Prosecutor Jennifer Veman says Lee helped them put the pieces of the crime together. Frazee's plan backfired when Krystal decided to cooperate with police.
Do you think if Patrick hadn't involved Krystal, he would have gotten away with Kelsey's murder?
Yes, he very well could have gotten away with it. But he wanted Krystal Lee to pin it on.
Frazee was sentenced to life in prison, but Lee is facing a maximum of up to just 3 years for evidence tampering. It was, say prosecutors, a deal with the devil.
Nikki Batiste joins us at the table. You hear about that story, the more gruesome it is.
The bloody stuffed animals?
Exactly.
Yes,
and the Bible.
Yeah.
What people don't understand is, why did she agree to clean up this crime scene? Can you give us any insight into her thinking?
Krystal had a complicated relationship with Patrick. She says she loved him, but that he also threatened her and her family, and she feared him. In this 48 hours, we have even more never-before-seen videos of her, surveillance of Patrick, the last image of Kelsey ever that's not been seen that jurors saw. And I'll tell you, it's all really unbelievable to piece together.
Yeah, I know prosecutors said that they made a deal with the devil. She got a maximum of 3 years. A lot of people are saying that ain't right.
She actually faces up to 3 years. Her next court appearance is December 2nd, so we'll wait to see what her final
could get less,
sentence
is what you're
She
saying.
could get
She
less.
could get less.
Yes.
All right, Nikki, thank you very much. And you can see Nikki's full
So just
report,
when you
Justice
thought
for
this thing
Kelsey
was,
Barrett, tomorrow night
starting
at
to
10.
wrap up, it is just getting started as they release information. So what you've just seen right there, we've played it a few times throughout this live video. We want you to see that because it's really the only footage we have right now of the actual body cam footage that was released to 48 hours. Some of that footage, and the reason I think this video needs to be played over and over, and these images need to be shown over and over, I'll say it just like I said it before, people need to know how the devil was involved. And so I'm, even though I wish we could all get that footage and we could go through and analyze it and see all of it, but the best that we can get right now is what 48 hours has released to us. And so we'll continue to update you as information comes in. We do know that they're going to do this all day. So basically they're going to be releasing new images, new video, new footage all day that they've gotten. So tomorrow's the special, but they're going to push out new stuff all day. We'll jump on and let you know when we find more info out. We've got our feelers out. We've put in our request to Dan May to leak us some footage. So we'll see if Dan May will leak us some footage, but right now that's what's coming in. We will keep you up to date as new stuff comes out. I know that it was CBS Morning News that released this video on YouTube, and so let me kill this and see if they've got anything else that has come out. That footage just was released on their YouTube channel this morning. Doesn't look, 6 hours ago. So they released that this morning. They'll continue to release new information in the future, and we'll drop that as it comes in. I'm getting distracted here. Few distractions running through my house. Nice. Sweet. Sounds like Jay has filed a core request for discovery. They ain't gonna release that shit to me, so it'll have to be. I think what they're gonna do, a lot of the news, I've spoken to multiple news sources that have said they have also requested those core requests, and they were denied, and they're using 48 hours to release this footage. But we'll see what happens. everybody, in my understanding so far, that has filed those. And I've talked to at least 3 news organizations that have literally been covering this thing since the start, and they were unable to obtain that footage or that stuff from there. So it will be interesting. Again, this is stuff that is just coming out. It's just dropping today. This is the discovery. This is the video actually used in court to show the jurors of them of what KK did and how she told. I don't know why they denied. I just know that multiple stations. Listen, I was talking again to people in the know and people who are following this case, who are getting paid to follow this case, and they were like, what do you mean 48 hours just dropped stuff? I'm like, bro, go to Dad with a Phone, you'll see the images. And so this is all being dropped within amongst the ranks of the media. For all intensive purposes, 48 Hours got the exclusive scoop on discovery. They have images right there of Radar, the dog. So we've been trying to get pictures and video with Radar since this thing started. This image here, this is the very first time the image of Patrick with Kaylee and the baby, and these are some of the first time we're seeing these outside the courtroom for sure. And so as this discovery drops, we'll keep you up to date. We'll talk more about it. You've been watching Dad with a Phone. I've been going for an hour today. I'm going to take a break. I need to charge some cameras, charge some batteries, and make sure that I'm ready tonight. 7 p.m. Mountain Standard, or 6 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, we will be live. We'll probably go live a little bit before the actual prayer vigil starts. It is a winter wonderland outside, so I don't know if they're going to release more footage, or if they're going to change the venue tonight, if they're going to put it indoors, outdoors. If they try to cancel it, we'll be there anyway, so people will be showing up. So it'll be tonight, the candlelight vigil for Kelsey Barrett, and we'll keep you up to date as stuff comes out. You can make sure to push like, subscribe, and do what you got to do so that you get updates, because we'll be coming live. And if you haven't already seen this, the videos are out. They're showing imagery of KK, the Krystal Lee Kinney. They're showing her and the body cam footage that they used in court to convict Patrick Frazee. This footage is being leaked through 48 Hours. And Dad with a Phone just did a little rip job. So thanks for watching. Any other questions? Let me see if there's any. Just want to see if there's any questions I need to answer. Yeah, people are saying she's acting weird in this video right here. They're saying that she's got these twitches and she's going back and forth. But I don't know that if it's actually weird in any way, shape, or form, more than it is. She's surrounded by cops right now having to give her testimony. So, crazy day. This case is just starting. It ain't even close to being done. They may have adjudicated it, but I can promise you the news and the stories that are going to continue to come out are going to shock and amaze people. They're going to say, how did this girl walk? How did this guy do this? Why did this guy do this? And so stay tuned on Dad with a Phone.